Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Let's everybody be seated, please. Welcome to the last assembly for 2025. As always on assemblies, we celebrate what is excellent and what is great about Nudgee through our academic, our cultural and our sporting life, and today is no different. We will present Old Boys Awards, we will hear from the go-kart team and the Nudgee Racing Team. We will hear about the annual Christmas appeal we do in conjunction with Aspley Care and the Catholic Parish at Aspley, and we will hear a 2025 roundup of our sporting seasons. You will see that the stage is set up a little differently today because it is set up already for our awards evening next Tuesday. It is the culmination of every assembly in a lot of ways. Each one of these little assemblies every week culminates in that celebration of academic, cultural and sporting excellence that covers the whole year. And we celebrate as a community the wonderful things about Nudgee, and we congratulate individuals on that night who are recognised for their particular excellence. So it would be wonderful to see as many of you here next Tuesday night to celebrate with your brothers their achievements for 2025 and consider what our achievements might be for 2026. So it would be great to see you all here next Tuesday night. Before we start, as a community of Australians, we pause to acknowledge the original Australians, and in these lands and waterways in this area of Brisbane or Mianjin, we acknowledge the Turrbal people, and we also pay our respects to those gathered with us today of First Nations descent. To lead us in prayer this Armistice Day, Mr. Matt Waugh.
Good morning, colleagues, parents and young men of Nudgee. Gentlemen, as Mr. Mara just alluded to, today is the 11th of November. It marks Remembrance Day in Australia. Many of you may wonder what is the significance of Remembrance Day and why am I talking to it today? After all, in April, as a college community, we reflected on Anzac Day, and in some respects, Remembrance Day is quite similar. However, gentlemen, Remembrance Day is a worldwide day of memorial because it marks the 11th of the 11th, 1918, when the First World War officially ended, when German soldiers signed a declaration of peace to declare that war would be over. Gentlemen, unfortunately, the war in its entire essence was not over, because less than 20 years later, the world engaged once more in a global conflict called World War II. But World War I was meant to be the war that ended all wars. 15 million people died. It was a contrasting battle where some nations still went to war on horseback, whereas others rolled tanks. Some soldiers held swords, whereas others had poisonous gas, such as mustard gas, to literally deteriorate one's lungs. Therefore, World War I potentially saw more trauma than any other battle because it was very much an uneven conflict. And it was in World War I that names such as Gallipoli came to the fore, a place that we will never forget as Australians, and also a place that runs along the western coast of France and Belgium, which we now call the Western Front, because it was the side of the battle where so many people lost their lives. Gentlemen, it was on the Western Front where the poppy grew so frequently. And you would all be familiar with that small red flower that's worn and used as a symbol of commemorating war. The reason we use the poppy is because it grows so freely along that Western Front. You may notice today a few people wearing a stick of rosemary across their shirt or across their jacket. And rosemary is a symbol because on the Gallipoli Peninsula, where our Anzacs fought and died, rosemary grows so very freely. However, World War I wasn't necessarily about hate because, gentlemen, so many of the soldiers actually had strong bonds together. One of my favourite images of all time was taken on Christmas Day on the Western Front in either 1915 or 16. and the British soldiers were fighting the Germans, and they decided, hey, you know what, it's Christmas, let's just stop for one day from killing one another, and instead, let's do something we share in common. So both generals agreed to put down their weapons, not a shot was fired, not a life was lost, and the Germans and the English soldiers instead played a game of soccer. So this image here represents the camaraderie between young men not much older than many of you, but because of the political situation that the world was in, they were asked to kill one another. But just for one day, instead they stopped and laughed and competed in that Christmas armistice. Gentlemen, for our prayer this morning, rather than doing something traditional, I thought I would read you a piece of poetry. The poem that I'm going to read to you is called In Flanders Fields, and some might argue that it's perhaps the most powerful and potentially famous piece of poetry ever written. It was written in 1915 by a Canadian doctor who was actually a part of the First World War. And the context of the poem was the Canadian doctor had just gone to the funeral of one of his very best friends who just died in a battle in Belgium, and he wanted to reflect on what he was feeling at the time. So this poem was written in 1915, but this man, John McCrae, never saw it published because he passed away from pneumonia as a result of the trench warfare of the First World War in 1918. And all of his writing was collected following his passing and published into a book, which is why In Flanders Fields is so well known today. So gentlemen, for our prayer, in a moment, and this idea came to me from a Year 8 student whose birthday it is today. And this Year 8 student said to me yesterday, hey sir, tomorrow's Remembrance Day. He didn't even mention it was his birthday, I found that out afterward. Sir, it's my birthday, and every year it's Remembrance Day. Could we please do something to honour that? And I said to this boy, should we get everyone to stand, and as a part of the reading of the poetry, we'll have a moment's silence afterwards, because the whole world will pause at 11 a.m. for a moment's silence today. He said, that'd be lovely. So we're not going to pause at 11 a.m. because I'm aware that for many of you it's in the midst of morning tea and it's a slightly less controlled environment. But we will pause for 1 minute's silence today in honour of all those that have lost their lives in all wars as a part of our prayer. But gentlemen, without speaking, I invite you please to stand in your place. We might make the sign of the cross, please, in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw the torch, be it yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. Live Jesus in our hearts forever. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Please take a seat, gentlemen. Boys, just 3 quick messages from me this morning. The first one is for our current Year 11 students. Obviously in 2026, gentlemen, you will be our seniors, and therefore a lot of responsibility is bestowed upon you, but one of which is the invitation to be a Eucharistic minister for for whenever we have a college mass, a house mass, or a boarding mass. This morning I will send out a Google form to all Year 11 students, and if you are interested in being a Eucharistic minister to support college liturgical celebrations, please fill that form in. I just need you to be aware that I need you to be a Catholic man that has completed his sacramental journey of baptism, confirmation and Holy Communion to be able to be a Eucharistic minister. But I invite you please to nominate for that, Year 11 students. Second message, gentlemen, is that today at 1 p.m. in our beautiful chapel here at Nudgee, the funeral of a dearly loved staff member of Nudgee, Mr. Wayne O'Brien, will be held. Mr. O'Brien worked on staff at Nudgee for more than 15 years, predominantly in the property and services and grounds team, but he was a massive part of Nudgee College basketball. Many of you would know Wobby if you saw him around the grounds, and we are honoured that his family and friends have chosen Nudgee College as the site for his funeral and celebration of life today. I'm just simply asking that when that memorial service is occurring from 1 p.m. and 2 p.m, that boys who would normally sit in and around Ross Oval and in that old boys' mall area where the large Celtic stone cross stands, that you are aware that there is a funeral going on and you are silent and respectful. And just a reminder for those boys who are in the first 5 basketball team, those student leaders for next year that are coming along, in addition to boys who will sing a hymn as a part of the choir, could you please make sure you're at that large cross just after 12:30 so we can give you some final instructions. And gentlemen, the final message from me is very much a part of handing over to Mrs. Roberts, to Ed, to Harry and to Ruben, because it's about our lead up to Christmas. In these final 3 weeks of school, we call on you to be people who care, we call on you to be people of service, and we call on you to be people of charity. On that note, if you are in year 9, 10, 11 and you know you're not travelling away for Christmas straight away and you're able to help out with our Tuesday morning Big Brekkie, that program will run right through the Christmas holidays. Those people that live on the streets don't have food just because we're on school holidays. So if you are someone that's in year 9, 10, 11 and able to help out with that Tuesday morning breakfast service on any day, please make sure you look at the student notices so you can sign up for that social justice activity. Without further ado, I throw over to Mrs. Roberts and our 2026 M&I prefects. Please welcome them.
Good morning, Mr. Thompson, CLT, staff, guests and Nudgee men. It's my pleasure to launch our 2025 Christmas Hamper Appeal in partnership with our local community charity, Aspley Care. Aspley Care volunteers to serve the North Brisbane community, providing emergency relief services to help those in need in times of crisis. While we all look forward to our Christmas holiday and the festive season, many local residents live each week not knowing if they're able to put enough food on the table to feed themselves. This year, the focus of Aspley Care's appeal is simple yet powerful, to bring a little extra joy and dignity to families, couples and individuals doing it a bit tough in our local region this Christmas. Aspley Care aims to deliver 150 Christmas hampers and gift packs to those who find themselves financially stretched at this time of year.
For this year's pantry drive, we can bring one of 3 things: tinned fruit, tinned vegetables, or a bottle of soft drink. We're also asking staff members if they would like to contribute children's toys to put under the Christmas tree. Over the next few weeks, consider when you can make it to the shops to bring one of these things and pick them up. Or maybe you can put a donation together with your mates. It's as simple as going down before or after cricket or volleyball training and picking something up from the shops. Your contributions will make a huge difference. Over the next few weeks, let's keep in our prayers someone in our community that's doing a little harder this Christmas.
When we give these things in ways, we're not just offering goods, we're offering hope, connection, and community. That's the very part of Nudgee College and what we stand for: compassion, service, and ensuring no one is left behind. We'll be collecting donations from now until the end of term so that hampers can be assembled and distributed in time for Christmas. Donations can be deposited in the Spirit Tunnel before school and at morning tea from tomorrow.
So let's be Let's make this year's hamper appeal a real success. Let's aim to smash that target of 150 hampers. Let's show our North Brisbane region that the Nudgee community cares, and that when the call goes out, we respond. Want to do more? Keep an eye on the student notices if you're in years 9 to 12 and interested in participating in Big Brekkie sessions during the holidays. Thank you, and we look forward to working with all of you in the coming weeks as we bring a little extra joy to our neighbours this Christmas.
Nudgee College is rich in history, a history that spans 134 years and holds the stories of brothers that have gone before you. History allows us to reflect on the past, to celebrate where we have come from, but also look to the future, safe in the knowledge that we're supported by our rich history. Our Old Boys Awards allow us to recognise many of your 10,000 brothers. Good morning, Mr. Thompson, members of the college leadership team, special guests, parents, and the men of Nudgee. I invite Mr. Thompson to the stage to present the McCrossan Awards for Year 5 and 6. The first award is named after Neil McCrossan, an old boy of the college from 1902 to 1906. In the junior public examinations conducted by the University of Sydney, McCrossan was awarded the T.J. Burns Medal for obtaining the highest pass in all of Queensland. In 1907, he was the Rhodes Scholar for Queensland, and McCrossan passed the Barrister's Bar examinations and was admitted as a lawyer in August of 1912. He subsequently served as a judge of the Supreme Court of Queensland, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, also in various times. This award is presented to students in Year 5 and 6 who possess the qualities of persistence, managing impulsivity, and taking responsible risks. Can we hold our applause to the end? In Year 5, our recipients are Oliver Marta, Oscar Mitchell, Henry Freeth, Flynn Cocroft, Jimmy Bra, and Dylan Pereira. In Year 6, Aidan Brennan, Hamilton Brennan, Joshua Cole, George Braid, Harry McSweeney, and Sanjot Dhaliwal. Can we please congratulate our Year 5 and 6 McCrossan Award winners. I now invite Ms Barrett to present the Old Boys Awards for Year 7 and 8.
The Ian Brasasco Award, named after a 1946 graduate, recognises the spirit of service. Brasasco was a leader in sports, business and charity, founding Food Bank Queensland to fight hunger. He credited his father with teaching him the importance of social justice. This award goes to Year 7 students who demonstrate persistence, a commitment to service and the courage to take responsible risks. The Year 7 recipients are Hugo Heath, Thomas Everest, Ryan Thompson, Will Curnow, William O'Connor, Archie McDonald, James Lamp, Parker Thompson, William Cleave. Please congratulate the Year 7 Brazasco Award recipients. The Patrick Donovan Award honours a nudgy old boy who served as an officer in World War II before becoming a global diplomat representing Australia in Rome, London and the European Economic Community. Donovan's life of dedication and excellence is reflected in Year 8 students who show persistence, a dedication to classroom excellence and a strong sense of service. The Year 8 recipients are Trayshawn Achari, Rocco Festa, Fred Guppy, Tyler Alexander Timms, Tom Eagles, Luke Seaton, Diesel Piper, Evan Monaghan, and Jack Sipos. Please congratulate the Year 8 Patrick Donovan Award recipients. I now invite Mr. Tom Hughes to the stage.
The Stephen Cook Award is presented to Year 9 students who, like Cook, display compassion, integrity and a commitment to service. Cook, a 1990 graduate and college captain, studied medicine and later served in the UN Peace Mission in East Timor and provided critical care during the Bali bombing crisis. He was awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross for his heroism. The Year 9 recipients are Xavier Cox, Thomas Stanford, Jordan Irvine, Jake Lindy, Darcy Bruce, Finn Oliver, Braxton Tokini, Kel Joseph, and Oxton Seedy. Please congratulate the Year 9 Stephen Cook Award recipients. Finally, the Stephen Daly Award for Year 10 students honours a 1994 graduate, Rhodes Scholar and Ducks of the College who excelled in rugby, cricket and basketball. Now a biomedical researcher, Daly exemplifies academic dedication, persistence and an authentic nudgy spirit. The Year 10 recipients are Quinlan Edwards, Seamus Byrne, Jacob Davies, Matthew Bale, Roman De Giadomenico, Eamon McCarthy, Bill Curran, Amona Brazier, and Samuel Chambers. Please join me in congratulating each of these remarkable students.
Good morning, Mr. Thompson, college leadership team, special guests, staff, and my Nudgee College brothers. This year, the Nudgee College Race Team focused on 2 programs, the Year 10 Go-Kart program and the Formula High School program for senior students. 20 students from the Year 10 metal fabrication subject were chosen to form 4 teams that would build and race 4 go-karts against 8 other schools at the Ipswich City Dirt Kart Club track in Term 3.
The Year 10 program was a great introduction to learning about motorsport, setting up and driving a go-kart, as well as being part of a motorsport team. It was an awesome experience and we are incredibly grateful to our sponsors, teachers and parents for supporting us to participate in this program.
For senior students, the Formula High program, starting in Year 11, combines engineering and metal fabrication in a motorsport setting. We manufactured specific car components and performed set-up tasks with millimetre-level precision. Along with technical skills, we developed our driving techniques and took on various team roles, all of which we put to the test at the 6-hour endurance event at Lakeside Raceway. This race brought together about 20 schools from across Queensland to compete. Driving our Le Mans-style race car on a professional track was an amazing experience, and despite many challenges like multiple driver changes, fuel stops and minor mechanical fixes.
Being part of the Nudgee College Racing Team has been an incredible and unique experience I'd recommend to anyone. None of this would have been possible without the support of our teachers, parents, and sponsors. I'd like to invite Mr. Curtis Morley from Performance Tower Hire to the stage to accept a small token of our appreciation. We also thank Mr. Peter Woodward from Vehicle Dealers International and Mr. Anthony Monaghan from Monaghan Signs, who couldn't be here today. Please join me in thanking the 2025 Nudgee College Racing sponsors.
Good morning, guests and Nudgee gentlemen. 300 teams, 1,700 students, 12 sporting activities. 4 premierships, 7 podiums, and the highest scoring first 15 side in a 137-year history of the competition. Whatever the metric, it's been a spectacular year of Nudgee sport. Participation, performance, student experience, individual achievement, 2025 has had it all. This morning I wish to share with you some stories, not of athletes in faraway places, but of young men who once sat in the same classrooms as you, wearing the same uniform, walking the same halls, training on the same fields, and now making their mark on the world stage. I'll also touch on some achievements of some current Nudgee students as we saw unmatched national representation across a large range of sports. Let's begin with football, where 2 recent old boys, Ryland Brownlee and Arthur De Lima, represented Australia. Ryland, currently at Crystal Palace, was finding the back of the net, much like he did with such regularity here at Nudgee. And just a week before, Arthur was here in the Ross Oval grandstand, cheering on our first 11. Arthur is with the Central Coast Mariners, joined by fellow Nudgee old boy Bailey Brantman, who on the weekend scored his first A-League goal. Closer to home, I talked earlier this year about Sam Klein, top goal scorer for the Brisbane Roar last season, who returned to speak to our first 11 squad in their pre-season, sharing a powerful message of resilience and dedication. One of the audience that day was Jackson O'Reilly, our current First 11 captain, who has since had a national call-up and is currently in Qatar in the Under-17 World Cup representing New Zealand. From the pitch to the courts, Nudgee old boy Will Magnay has recently been named captain of the Australian men's basketball squad. And meanwhile, current Year 10 student Isaiah Jorgensen toured China and Mongolia with the Under-16 national side. While Nudgee old boy Nathan McSweeney was on the fringes of the Australian Test squad after earning his baggy green late last year in Perth, current students Spencer Green and Charlie Henderson were representing their state, while Abe Daliwell was named in the Under-15 national schoolboys team. Pratik Navin dominated the GPS tennis competition, all the while winning tournaments in Fiji, Mornington, competing in Thailand, Nepal and Spain, and cementing himself as one of the best Under-16 players in the country. Pat Long was a first 15 rugby player and first 8 rower during his time here. He has now graduated from Princeton, where he was in their first 8 before returning to Canberra to train with the Australian team. In the pool, Harry Turner, class of 2021, made history, winning bronze at the 200-metre butterfly at the World Championships in Singapore. Not only did he break the Australian record, but he became the first Australian ever to medal in this event. When he's not making history, he can still be found here at Nudgee most mornings working with our swimming director, Sean Crowe, training his heart out, chasing the black line. In volleyball, Will Dallimore is already representing Australia under-20s, while Ollie Shelton is an Australian under-18 representative and national medalist. It's worth mentioning that both these boys are performing exceptionally well in the classroom as well. Sam Wells in cross-country, Oliver Novick in pickleball, the list of achievement goes on and on. Mr Graham talked in term 3 about James O'Connor's path to the Wallabies and Rob Toyer's journey to State of Origin. In our rugby program, there are lots of boys chasing a dream. Year 12 students Levi Slater, Tito Hamala, Isaac Raulini, Archie Mesrich, Bennett Armistead, all joining recent old boys Ed Kasparovich and Nick Conway on the under-18 national team. 7 Nudgee students on an under-18 national team is some statement. Outside of the students and the old boys I've mentioned, there's plenty more, and I do apologise for not mentioning them all. Gents, everywhere you look, there are reasons to believe what might be possible if you commit to something. Really commit to something, every single moment. The young men I mentioned this morning were once very much like you. Now they wear the green and gold, lead their teams around the world, or chase dreams from Nudgee to Princeton to Shanghai. So find what you love and give it everything you've got. Perhaps it's not sport, music, drama, whatever it is. Here at Nudgee there's inspiration, opportunities, and people to help you reach your goals. This year, as we battled with our GPS rivals, once again there was plenty of inspiration. Cyclone Alfred threatened to derail Term 1 sport right as it was getting to the business end of competition. But it would take more than that to stop Ollie Lindy and our swimming team. After being edged out by Brisbane Grammar in 2024, Nudgee returned determined to make a statement. It came down to the relays, as it so often does, and our swimmers delivered. A stunning victory and a first premiership of 2025. Rowing. Let's talk frankly, the season was tough. The waters were tumultuous, and when the storm subsided, there wasn't too much left. But there was still a group of boys hugely committed and passionate about their sport, determined to rebuild Nudgee rowing brick by brick. I want to say this about rowing. Once you leave Nudgee, it's very unlikely you will get the opportunity to try this sport. If you haven't yet, please contact our rowing director and get in a boat. If you've tried it previously and are not sure it's for you, I urge you to give it one more go. The motto this year isn't flood the river, it's fill the boats. We can't say we're an outstanding school at sport until we have all 10 of our GPS sports firing. It's important we make a statement on the water in 2026, so get in a boat. Cricket had an early slip-up at Thurston Road that could have derailed their season, but under captain Hayden Hamilton, the first 11 fought back hard, showing resilience and composure to finish on the podium. And finally, in Term 1 volleyball, results were strong across the teams, and the first 6 had an outstanding season. The final round was a thriller, Tickets sold out, McHenry Centre packed to the rafters, facing our brother school for a premiership, Gregory Terrace. And on that day, in the true Nudgee spirit of generosity, our culture of kindness even extended to sharing a premiership with Terrace of all schools. To give our opposition credit, they were very, very good on that day, and we couldn't quite rise to the occasion. But that result doesn't take away from what was an incredible season and just our third ever volleyball premiership. Our first 11 football team started term 2 with 2 uncharacteristic losses, which is often the end of any hopes of silverware. But they chose resilience over excuses. There were significant challenges to overcome, but they found a way, all the way to 6 wins in a row and a 3rd premiership in 4 years. 3 years ago, Nudgee Tennis was struggling. Today it's thriving under Mr. Page's leadership. They've rebuilt from the ground up, earning a hard-fought 3rd place finish. Riley Jensen did an outstanding job of captaining the team, but it's impossible not to mention Pratik, who went unbeaten at number 1 seed. Cross-country's progress over recent years has been phenomenal. Over the past 5 years, constant growth. 9th, 6th, 5th, 4th, and this year back on the podium in 3rd. Huge credit to Miss Trembeth and her team for leading one of the warmest and most committed communities in the school. It was all changed for basketball at the beginning of 2025, and for the first 5, it's been 15 years since we finished so high on the table. 4th place, within touching distance of the podium. A massive credit to Mr. McHenry and his squad. The foundations for something special over the next few years are now in place. And then rugby. Dominant across the age groups, and the first 15 was simply unstoppable. Undefeated, unmatched, and the highest scoring team in GPS history for a 4th straight premiership. And finally, just a few weeks ago, our track and field athletes tried to match an Ipswich squad inspired by Gout Gout. The red and white were too good, and we fell short in the last few races in the relays, slipping from 2nd to a disappointing 5th in the blink of an eye. And here's a couple of pictures I love from GPS track and field that day. Mr. Carmody, if you can try and find forward a slide, please. That's the one. In the top there, Isaac Raulini, our first 15 prop, just back from Australia under-18 duty and straight into a Nudgee singlet and contributing in the shot put. And likewise, so many of you who contributed across both team and championship sports this year. And the crowd shot there, love the passion, and great to see just in that one small shot, there are members of our first 11 cricket team, first 8 rower, first 11 footballers, first 15 rugby, first 6 volleyball, and I think just out of shot, Vinny is waving the flag for the first 5 basketball team, supporting each other, getting behind our mates. And the other picture there, Captain Alex Smith, the performance of the night to win the 800 metres. And the final picture, in the bottom there, the aftermath of the relays. Our relays weren't good, but when things went wrong, we had each other's backs. Despite one of the most successful years on the scoreboard, let's not pretend we were perfect. There were times that we looked out the mirror rather than in. There were times we looked out the window rather than in the mirror. There were times we thought more about retribution than what was right. There were times we lost control, cut corners, and there were times where maybe we had a little bit more in the tank that we didn't give. We have to keep striving to be better. We have to take responsibility when we get it wrong, and we have to be prepared to look in the mirror and be honest. As well as our departing Year 12s, there were some significant sporting goodbyes at Nudgee. Deb Daly and Anthony Canellan were the only sports office staff left from my first day here, and now both have moved on. And of course, our beloved Christine Atchison, who is currently looking after her own health, and we hope to see her back in 2026. And all our thoughts and prayers are with her. And Wayne O'Brien, McHenry Centre on a basketball home day, won't ever feel quite the same. For some of you, your attention is already on 2026. I want you to consider carefully as you think about next year what your choices are. What are you really going to commit to? What are you really going to have a crack at being your best at? We want you to find something that you love doing and something you're going to continue to do beyond the gates of Nudgee. Whether that's social tennis, Metro 5 football, or just regular park runs, a lifelong love of sport. So as you consider the remainder of 2025 and into 2026, I encourage you to be intentional about your choices. Better to choose 2 things and do them well than 4 and do them poorly. Be purposeful about your actions and consistent with your efforts. Be inspired by those around you and some of the individual stories touched on today. The path from the flats to the Suncorp, from the McHenry Centre to the national stage, has already been walked. Anything is possible, gentlemen. Chase your own dreams, not anyone else's. The goal of getting from the C's to the B's is just as valid as that of making Met North, getting a professional contract, or pulling on the green and gold at a World Cup. And of course, chase your successes with humility. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you to everyone involved this year in making Nudgee Sport what it is. Looking forward already to 2026. Here's a quick video, please, Mr. Carmody, to sum up 2025 Nudgee Sport.
There is a house built out of stone. This is a place where I don't feel alone. This is a place where I feel at home.
Good morning, Mr. Thompson, CLT, colleagues, parents, guests, and gentlemen of Nudgee. I'm excited to share some big news for all our performing arts students and anyone who's ever thought of being creative and looking into that side of Nudgee life. In June 2026, we'll be heading off on our Nudgee College Performing Arts Tour to Sydney. The 8-day experience is from Saturday the 27th of June to Saturday the 4th of July and is packed with incredible opportunities. On day 1, we'll kick off with a Sydney Harbour ferry ride, dinner at the Rocks Cafe, before going to the Sydney Opera House to see the Sydney Symphony perform How to Train Your Dragon 2 live. On the second day, we'll start with a backstage tour of the Opera House, and then we'll head off to Luna Park for a few hours of fun before having dinner at a local restaurant. On day 3, we'll visit Walsh Bay to see a Bell Shakespeare production, then hit the water for a Sydney speedboat experience, followed by an evening of gaming and creativity at Fortress Homes of Games. On day 4, there's 2 options. Option 1 is visit the Art Gallery of New South Wales and take part in a music workshop at the Sydney Conservatorium of Music. The other option is to start the day with a visual arts workshop with the Sydney Art School and then visit the New South Wales Gallery in the afternoon. We'll finish the day by heading to Manly for dinner at the Shore Beach Club. Day 5 includes a beat-making workshop with Roland Australia and a visit to Belvoir Theatre Company to meet the artistic director, possibly, who is Nudgee old boy Eamon Flack. Then we'll roll up our sleeves for an Italian pizza-making experience for dinner. On day 6, we're off to NIDA, Australia's leading drama school, where you'll choose from a range of professional experiences and acting workshops, public speaking workshops for our debaters, and creative writing for our Writers' Circle students. Then we'll have some free time exploring the city before a buffet dinner at the Sydney Tower with stunning panoramic views. On day 7, we'll have an Ableton music course at the Live School in Sydney. Our art students will head off to a splatter paint and sculpting workshop, and our esports students will be able to visit the Academy of Interactive Technology for those interested in media and game design. That night, we'll have a buffet dinner and go to the Capitol Theatre to see the Lion King musical, a highlight of our tour. Finally, day 8 finishes with a relaxed morning at the Rocks Markets, Discovery Museum, and then heading back to Brisbane. This all-inclusive, once-in-a-Nudgee lifetime experience is open to all performing arts students in grades 9 to 12, 2026. This includes drama, art, music, chess, debating, esports, Writers' Circle, tech crew, musical students from this year, and theatre sports students. If this sounds like your kind of adventure, make sure you submit your expression of interest form. You can find the details in your emails, through the Performing Arts Office, student notices, Performing Arts team apps, or even coming and seeing me directly. Now I'd like to invite Rock Band 3 to the stage, they're ready to go, to perform the Dire Straits classic, Sultans of Swing.
Get a shiver in the dark, it's a rennin' in the bark, but meantime, south of the river, you're stopping your hold, everything. A band is blowing Dixie, double 4 time. You feel alright when you hear that music ring. Oh, now you step inside, but you don't see too many faces. Coming in out of the rain to hear the jazz go down. Competition in other places. Ah, but the horns, they're blowing that sound. Way on down south. Way on down south to London town. You check out Guitar George. He knows all the chords. Money's tricky rhythm, he doesn't want to make it cry or sing. They said an old guitar is all he can afford when he gets up under the lights to play his thing. And Harry doesn't mind if he doesn't make the scene. He's got a daytime job, he's doing alright. It can play the honky-tonk like anything, saving it up for Friday night with the Sultans of Swing. And a crowd of young boys, they're fooling around in the corner, drunk and dressed in their best brown baggies and their platform soles. They don't give a damn about any trumpet playing band. It ain't what they call rock and roll. And the Sultans, yeah, the Sultans, they play Creole. Creole.
Good morning, Nudgee community. It's wonderful to have everyone in the CBCC. We don't often get the pleasure of this, so it's great to have all students here. Welcome to our guests, our parents and loved ones who are here to witness their sons coming across the stage today, and finally to my very valued colleagues. Good morning, gents. Please, I can ask that you sit up straight. I've got a bit of a message here this morning, starting with some positive, but then I just want to speak about a few fairly serious matters towards the end. First of all, Rock Band 3, well done. Incredibly, it's wonderful to hear a bit of Dire Straits, and I think they deserve another round of applause, please. It's always a pleasure to be blessed with music on our assemblies, and gents, whoever thinks it's okay to whistle, don't. I ask also that you heed that encouragement around digging deep and giving to our Christmas appeal. Well done to the go-kart and Formula High students. I was lucky enough to be out at Lakeside the day before everything went on, and instead of being in the car to have a few hot laps around, I was able to help out with some mechanical work that was unforeseen, but as Mr. Morley said before, that's racing, so I spent a bit of time getting my hands dirty and helping out, make sure the car was ready for the next day. And finally, Mr. Pybers, thank you for a wonderful wrap-up of sport throughout the year. Gents, we're blessed to have so many current and past students who have achieved to the highest level in many different fields at Nudgee College. Whilst a number of our students attained Australian representation in sport, there's no doubting that some of our students who excel in the arts would no doubt find their way into representative teams if they existed. We've had an incredible year, as you can see by the image on the screen. Wonderfully successful musical that we enjoyed partway through the year. An equally successful arts gala. High numbers of representatives at the GPS Music Gala. State finalists in both the senior and junior divisions of the state theatre sports. QDU champions in the Year 6 division. Great results at the QCMF, a highly successful arts European tour, our regional band tour, and ending the year with two of our students wowing the audiences at the recently held Pete Murray concert at Eaton's Hill Hotel. The many young men who pour so much time and effort into the arts continue a long tradition of Nudgee students excelling in this field. To briefly name a few, these include actor Jacob Elordi, internationally known and admired actor, whose most recent movie is currently #1 on Netflix Australia. Pete Murray, singer and songwriter and absolute Australian icon. Ron Grainer, who many of you may not have heard of, but no doubt you've heard of his music. He was a composer and a musical innovator, most famously known for writing the theme to the Doctor Who TV show. And even most recently, 2022 graduate and up-and-coming DJ Luke Barber, who performs to huge audiences at festivals under the moniker of Lauk, and did the music for our Nudgee podcast, Unscripted. On that theme of Old Boys, well done to the recipients of our Old Boys Awards. It's wonderful to recognise students for the traits they show every day that help Nudgee become an even better place. The patrons of these awards were all amazing individuals. From all accounts that I have read, and also those who I have met in person, each of these men were incredibly determined, highly skilled, and unbelievably kind and caring in their nature. Gents, each of these men developed their skills and characteristics during their time at Nudgee. Their studies helped to develop them into the men that they became. In their respective lives, they were and are being generous, caring, kind, and ultimately a signum fidei. They were or are being a sign of faith in this world and ultimately making the world a better place. And gents, that's what we want for every single one of you, every staff member here, every parent who sends their boy to Nudgee College. We want you to make the world a better place. And that also goes for your 10,000 brothers. I want to share with you an example of two young men who are doing just that. I won't include their names, but they will know who they are. I received this email, and it was one from one of our boarding tutors that came in last week. Good evening. I just want to share something I witnessed during tutoring tonight. Student A was talking about how he felt about a particular student from a younger year group. And student B kindly stepped in to explain that this boy simply has a different way of thinking and expressing himself. The student stood up. Student B stood up for the student in the younger year group. And student A showed great maturity by listening and changing his perspective after hearing what student B had to say. It was amazing to watch this conversation happen and demonstrating the great values that make true Nudgee men. Regards, boarding tutor. So this, fellas, is a great example of a culture of kindness that we aspire to. It shows incredible leadership, maturity and care for a fellow Nudgee brother. The young man who listened to the point of view and ultimately changed the way that he thought also showed great maturity and open-mindedness. Last Monday, we had a large number of pastoral leaders from EREA schools across Queensland converge for their 2-yearly conference in Ryan Hall. To conclude the day, I was honoured to be part of a panel with 3 of your Nudgee brothers. Each of these students, Digger, Riley and Kel, acquitted themselves incredibly well. They were a great example for our school. They made themselves and all of Nudgee staff incredibly proud as they responded to questions that came their way. One of the questions asked was, what are some of the biggest challenges young men face today? There were incredibly mature responses that summed up how hard it is growing up in this age, in this current time, where there are technology challenges, social pressures, and high expectations. But the response that stuck with me was when one of the boys said, I think the biggest challenge is deciding if you want to be a sheep or you want to be a shepherd. Boys, I need you to think about that statement for a moment. What is the job of a sheep in a flock? Hopefully you've concluded that a sheep's job is to remain as part of the flock, copy what the other sheep are doing, follow others, and copy their actions. In the same way, I ask you, what is the job of a shepherd? Again, hopefully you've concluded that the job of a shepherd is to lead, to guide the flock, and to protect the biggest and the smallest of the sheep in that flock. Don't get me wrong, there are moments in life when we all need to display sheep-like qualities. How we follow rules that are created to keep us safe. How we follow instructions given to us, be that in a classroom or on a playground, at the movies, or when you're getting on a plane or a train. There are moments where you need to act like a sheep. However, and it's very sad that I have to bring this up, there have been recent reports of students acting like sheep when it comes to poor choices at the expense of others. I take you back to the start of my talk this morning. Mr. Piper shone a light on some young men that have been selected for Australia, an incredible honour. And I would hope that they receive only congratulations and applause for their achievements from their Nudgee brothers. I would hope that students do not take the opportunity to demean or belittle these outstanding young men. Sadly, reports have come to me regarding the way that some of you, not all of you, but a small number of you have treated some of your the other boys that I featured in the slide about those who have attained great results in the arts. Boys, nearly all of you, and I would nearly argue that actually all of you, enjoy listening to music and watching movies. Some of the young men who sit in this assembly here today, or maybe that we've seen on stage already, will end up being the next Pete Murray or Jacob Elordi. And one day you will say, I know him. I went to Nudgee College with him. You will celebrate their success in the future. What I'm asking of you is that you celebrate their success now. If you feel it's okay to cut others down because of their success and interests that differ from your own, then maybe we need to have a conversation about whether Nudgee is the right school for you. Please hear and understand what I've said. We are an inclusive community where we celebrate the success of all, not just some. Mr. Graham, our Director of Rugby, during a recent meeting with rugby students who made some poor choices during the final round of Term 3, said the following to those boys gathered. If you think your actions are courageous or tough, think again. Courage is getting up on assembly and performing a song or playing the piano. Courage is standing up to someone who is bullying another student. Former Chief of Army Lieutenant General David Morrison in 2013 in a groundbreaking speech said something similar. You can read it on the screen, but I've adapted the words to our school. Nudgee College has to be an inclusive school in which every student is able to reach their full potential and is encouraged to do so. Those who think it's okay to behave in a way that demeans or exploits their Nudgee brothers have no place in this great school. The same goes for those who think toughness is built on humiliating others. Gents, you wear it on your heart. You sing it with pride as a whole school. You hear it repeatedly. I ask in those moments that you witness a fellow student having a go at someone because they have a different interest or passion. Please be the shepherd. Don't be the sheep. Promote that culture of kindness. Be a true sign of faith. Thank you.
Good morning, CLT staff, parents and Nudgee men. Over the course of this year, I've spoken many times about respect. Respect for your teachers, respect for one another, and specifically respect for our college. Each time, I've spoken with the hope that you would take that message to heart, that you would recognize how lucky we all are to be part of a community like Nudgee, and that you would take pride in the spaces that we share. But to be honest, it's clear that some students have not listened, that some students don't take pride in being a member of this college. Despite the conversations, the reminders, the encouragement, graffiti and mindless damage continues to appear around the college, especially in the toilets. I know that many of you would have seen the graffiti or the damage that I'm about to talk about. It's disappointing, it's disrespectful, and it needs to stop. Worse still, some of what has been written has been disgusting. There is no other word for it. Some graffiti has been homophobic, xenophobic, and targeted at individuals in this college. Let me make this absolutely clear. That kind of language has no place at this college. It is not funny. It is not harmless. It is hateful, cowardly, and completely opposed to everything we stand for as a Catholic school and a community that values inclusion and dignity for all. So from this point forward, the focus is not on the idea of respect, That's a basic expectation. The focus is on the actions we are taking to deal with those who choose to not show respect. What is clear, the majority of graffiti and damage is done during class time. So from today, your teachers will be more resistant to toilet requests during class time. If you have to go, you will leave your phone with your teacher, your name will be recorded, and the time you spend out of class will be noted. Our cleaners, who have to deal with the graffiti every day, they are visited more regularly. They are recording the exact times when graffiti or damage is found. This gives us a window of time that graffiti would have happened, a short window of time. That information is being cross-checked with CCTV footage. And when a student is identified, they will be spoken to directly and seriously. Let me be very clear. Don't put yourself in a position where this conversation has to take place. Go to the toilet before class, at morning tea, after class, at lunchtime. And really clearly, if you are a student that feels that it is okay to write such disgusting things in the toilets, stop. We all share this environment. We all benefit from it. And every time someone chooses to damage it, they show a complete lack of care for the rest of us. And they show who they truly are, and that's not Signum Fidei. So, this is your final reminder in the closing weeks of this term. Respect is not about words, it's about actions. We expect better. We will be watching closely, and we will hold students accountable. Take pride in where you are. Take responsibility for how you act. Be the shepherd, not the sheep. And if you can't show respect for this college, and be prepared for the consequences that will follow. And if any students have any concerns regarding the graffiti or the damage in the toilets that you have seen, please reach out to your house deans for support. We really hope to see as a college an improvement over the next couple of weeks in our shared spaces, something that we can continue as we move into 2026. Thank you. Now on to something a little bit lighter. Recently, our 9 houses competed in the first inter-house event for 2026. Yes, 2026, esports. Esports is fast becoming one of the most popular events in the inter-house calendar, with Tierney Auditorium full of supporters for the final between Barrett and Shaw House only a week ago. I'd like to thank Mr. Duffield, Mr. Smith, and Ms. Lamb for their organisation and support of this event. Thanks, gents. And also a big thank you to the AV and the IT crews for their setup of the final in Tierney, which was a massive job, so thank you. Can we show our appreciation to those people, please? Rather than a 9th to 1st announcement, because essentially we already know who the winners are if you were in Tierney at the time, but to give them the pleasure of receiving the trophy from Mr. Thompson, I will announce the top 3, and then I'll invite our winning house to come and accept the trophy from Mr. Thompson. So in 3rd place, Fogarty. In 2nd place, Shaw House. And in 1st place, for the 2nd year in a row, Barrett House. And then we'll just look to the week ahead, please, Mr. Carmody. I think we just have two slides, one focused on what we've got. Our social justice activities, please sign on via the notice in the student notices. And then our Friday, there's a lot of information for where we are for SF on Friday. So if we could just put that slide up. Okay, so just pay close attention to where we are, gents. Our Year 10 Business Diploma students, specifically, you need to check an email that's coming very soon for where you need to go on Friday. Our Year 8s will be participating in their first round of Touchakoi rules, which is also a much fought competition. And our Year 11s, you will also receive communication from your house deans for Friday. I now welcome for 3 cheers, Cooper Ramsey. Thank you, Cooper. Well done. Okay, I will ask or give the opportunity for our special guests to make an exit before the masses, if our parents would like to leave. And then we'll let our award winners go first in case parents want some photos. Okay, and Barrett House can go first.